All right, what's happening, everybody? I'm back. I will never leave you, except when school starts getting busy. Anyways, got my famous Matsumoto's shave ice shirt on. For those of you who've been to the North Shore in Hawaii, just got back from there over Christmas break. It was pretty awesome. Hiked into a bunch of different waterfalls, and don't worry, I don't just do the regular tourist trap bull crap. I do all the crazy stuff, hiking, swimming in waterfalls, surfing, whatever. Anyway, today we're going to do just a nice, good old-fashioned aquarium talk. Anecdotal evidence, it's just going to be my own evidence. I've got a method for you guys that I want you to try out, and it correlates to, um, similar, I guess, evidence that they find in water treatment plants, and it has to do with the biofilm and coagulation and organics and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about optimizing your water quality. Now, I already have a video about it, but that video is pretty crazy and I went all over the place. So today I'm going to keep it real simple. I'm going to explain a little bit more about how we can optimize our water quality and what does water quality mean. What does it mean to me? What does it mean, when a scientist talks about water quality? Well, usually it has to do with having high oxygen and low organics. And usually we call this the BOD. The BOD is the way we can measure this, is the biochemical oxygen demand. How do you measure it? Well, you do an experiment. Basically, you have to have a dissolved, a DO meter, dissolved oxygen meter, and a specific volume of water, and you do it over several days. So it basically, what you do is you measure how much oxygen is used by the bacteria. So say you have a liter full of water, you measure the dissolved oxygen. Several days later, you measure it again. If a lot of the dissolved oxygen is gone, it means that the bacteria have consumed a lot of that oxygen. Now, why would they consume a lot of the oxygen? Well, they would consume it because they're breaking down a lot of organics. So if a lot of oxygen is consumed, then you know that you have high organics, and we call it organic pollution. So if you have a BOD, biochemical oxygen demand, between 5 to 6, that'd be pretty high. Well, it means that it used about 5 to 6 milligrams per liter, 5 to 6 parts per million of the oxygen which was in that 1 liter volume within that time frame. Usually you do it over the course of several days. And so it means that the bacteria consumed a lot of oxygen, which means there's a lot of organic pollution. So it's basically a substitution. You're using that unit of oxygen to find the value of the organics. You're not actually measuring the organic particles by weight. Like, you're not actually physically measuring the organics. You're using the bacteria and the oxygen to do it. So I hope that clears up a little bit more about biochemical oxygen demand. When your tank first starts out, you can have a high oxygen demand. We've talked about this before because your plants are transitioning from immersed to submersed, right? Your filter usually isn't cycled. Sometimes you can use cycled media from a new filter, and that can help out. And when your tank matures, that BOD, let's say it's at 5 to 6 milligrams per liter, based on a test that you've done, and you did the test over a week, over 7 days. Once it gets more mature, once our tanks start moving, the root mass of the plants is releasing oxygen. You've got good agitation releasing oxygen. The microbial beds are more mature, and having them more mature makes them more efficiently break down those organics. Your BOD, and as well, you're going to be cleaning plants, you're going to be trimming plants, your BOD is going to go down. Let's say 0 to 2 milligrams per liter. So within that time frame, the bacteria only used 0 to 2 milligrams per liter, 0 to 2 parts per million of oxygen. Now, before I go any further, this is basic husbandry. Most people may just be saying, well, this is just husbandry. What's the point? I even had one guy on Facebook say, so you're basically just explaining husbandry. And I am. The reason I am is because we take it for granted. Or a lot of people don't really know the reason why we're doing it. Well, I'm cleaning my tank. Why am I cleaning my tank? To clean my tank. But why? What is the reasoning? Well, what does this water quality mean? What does it mean, to an environmental scientist? What does it mean to someone who's studying water chemistry? What does it mean to someone? What does the term water quality mean? Well, usually it means, having a good supply of oxygen, having low organics. A lot of the reason we even get algae is because of organically derived nutrients. Yeah, from phosphorus and nitrates, but usually it's organic nitrogen. So organics can be seen as a form of pollution, and the plants themselves can even help pollute the water. So the reason I'm talking about this today is because I've been asked, in my last video I talked about optimizing your CO2, kind of, killed two birds with one stone. You increase your surface agitation, you're increasing the O2, which helps the biofilm to grow elsewhere other than the surface of the water, right? And you're increasing that exchange rate, helping more faster flow rate of CO2 and oxygen, so you're able to get more even distribution within that volume, because within that volume you have a higher flux, so you can pump more CO2 into that volume to get that same parts per million of CO2, so then you have greater distribution. So increasing your surface agitation is basically killing two birds with one stone. So my whole point in this is I've been having people ask a lot about just the biofilm. Well, how do I get rid of the biofilm? Why is the biofilm there? And so I think we need to talk a little bit more about husbandry. Again, it's something we take for granted. And so just keep all of this in mind. If you want to have your biofilm grow elsewhere, increase your oxygen, decrease your organics, possibly even have better or more biomedia within your filter. Okay? And, of course, trim your plants and everything like that. So here's the main point of this video and the method that I want you guys to try, just because I've noticed it with my own experience, and I noticed it just recently when I thoroughly cleaned my filter, which I feel like is a mistake. So let's talk about the filter. The filter gets built up with a biofilm. It has its own natural coagulating properties. It's not just bacteria, it's bacteria, protozoan, fungi, all kinds of different stuff. It's a whole microbial society. It's all kinds of different stuff. Of course, there's nitrifying bacteria, denitrifying bacteria, everything like that. So that builds up a nice thick coagulant. Sometimes they'll even call it like a sludge or whatever in water treatment. And that natural coagulant, once it's built up, they'll call it aged sludge or mature sludge, basically mature biofilm. It'll start helping to trap those organics even better. So it's more efficient. You have a colony working together. Their work is going to be more efficient. It's, more bacteria. They're going to be able to break down those organics faster. So since they're more efficient, they also use less oxygen as well. So it's going to help keep your oxygen more stable, as well as just trapping more organics. So it also polishes your water. It makes your water cleaner as well. So that gets built up. You have aged microbial beds, aged biofilm within your filter. Okay, what can happen over time is if it gets really clogged, is sometimes you can see like organic particles starting to come back into the aquarium through the outflow. I've had this happen. If you really neglect your filter, or you just have a lot of organics, or you're just neglecting your maintenance, because you also want to be doing trimming. Let's say you're neglecting your trimming, everything like that. Your filter can get pretty dirty. The sludge can get old. It can decay because it's actually getting a lack of oxygen now. So there's actually less oxygen getting distributed throughout the filter because it's getting clogged. So the biofilm, the sludge, can actually die. It can fall away from the sponge. It's not as strong. It has basically like a natural stickiness to it, cohesiveness, okay? It'll start to fall away. Well, by that time, if you have a bunch of crap coming out of your outflow, you definitely know, okay, I really need to clean my filter. Now that's a case-by-case basis. This is all relative. But my whole point, the method I want you guys to try is don't touch your filter. Don't touch it that often. Don't mess with it at all. The more mature your sludge, the better. I know I've said in other videos, hey, at the beginning, I said in that water quality video, hey, in the beginning when you have a lot of high BOD and a lot of plant mass sloughing off and there's high organics at the beginning of the aquarium, I said to clean your filter more frequently. Well, I've changed my opinion on that. This is what I want you guys to try and see if it works for you, because it's been working for me and I've noticed it. I knew it all along. Some of you guys have probably noticed it too, is clean your aquarium, but don't clean your filter, if that makes sense. Get all the detritus out of your aquarium, trim your plants, get all the decaying matter out of your aquarium, get all the organics that you can out of your aquarium besides the live plants to help reduce the biofilm and to also increase the oxygen. So they kind of work synergistically together. If you keep that oxygen higher and you're reducing the organics, well, now the bacteria don't have to decompose as many organics. So you're keeping that oxygen higher, you're keeping that oxygen more plentiful just by reducing the decaying matter in your tank, as well, of course, has the good surface agitation, which we already know. That's going to create more stable high oxygen that can be transmitted to your filter. Now that's going to get into your filter. You're going to have a nice mature sludge. It's going to be able to better take up those organic colloidal particles that are floating around in the water column and decompose them more efficiently, and also utilize less oxygen in the process. So the way I'm going to tell you how to optimize your water quality is keep the aquarium really clean and don't touch the filter. If junk starts coming out of your filter into the outflow, which I've had happen, like I said before, just maybe because your tank has a lot of organics, every situation is going to be different, or you just neglected everything for a very long time, then clean your filter. But I noticed I really thoroughly cleaned my filter the other day, and it actually ruined everything. And not just because of the chlorine or whatever, it ruined just my water wasn't as polished. I could see that the fish were unhappy, and I took out a lot of that natural coagulant, the natural biofilm, and my filter really wasn't even that dirty. I think I keep pointing at my guitar, but it's right here. I just have an API medium fill star canister, nothing special. So those are just some ideas on how you can optimize your water quality, and that will also hopefully help reduce that biofilm. Again, canister filters always seem to have a biofilm. Even if it's not visible with the human eye, it's usually still there. So the only real way you can get rid of it is usually by having about 8 milligrams per liter of oxygen at 25 degrees Celsius, which puts you at close to 100% saturation of oxygen. You're only going to get that with a wet dry filter, or possibly running one of those twin star gadgets. And as well, you can physically get rid of the biofilm and help oxygenate the water to some degree with a surface skimmer. So you can also try a surface skimmer with your aquarium. I just ended up getting the glass lily pipes. I got the poppy bulb, and I don't like it because now my surface agitation's been greatly reduced. I had to turn my CO2 down because less CO2 is escaping the aquarium, and now of course I have more of a biofilm on my tank. Yeah, my tank looks all sleek and everything, but I'm running a canister filter, so now I'm probably going to have to put a surface skimmer in there. So that's one more thing I have to buy, one more thing I have to put into the aquarium, or I could just go back to my black outlet, the outflow, and have a high surface agitation. And I think I'm going to do that because the other night my Hillstream loach was hyperventilating because there was too much CO2, and the Hillstream loach cannot tolerate being in the proximity of that much CO2 because of where it comes from. And plus it likes a higher current too. So it hates that much CO2 in proximity, and it hates the low current. So I may go back to my traditional outflow. Yeah, this looks all sleek, but it's just not my style. It's not optimum for the fish. It's not optimum for the plants. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I hope this gave you some more ideas on how to optimize your water quality. Until next time, keep your sleeves wet. Peace out.